So recently in my community post, I officially stated that I'll be going on a tour scaling multiple different fictions besides Dragon Ball and discovering how strong they actually are. I mentioned Ninjago as one of the names, and you guys really wanted me to scale Ninjago, so without further ado, let's get into the scaling. To start off with the basis for Ninjago scaling, we first have to go into the cosmology because there are plenty of characters within Ninjago that actually do scale to the cosmology. In Ninjago, there exists 16 different universes, making Ninjago's cosmology already a baseline multiverse. On top of this, these 16 universes exist as parallel to the world of Ninjago, making it actually 17 universes. What's even crazier is that all 17 of these universes are verbatim stated to be infinite, as all 16 are parallel to the main Ninjago world, which is stated to be infinite. Containing all of the 17 universes is the ethereal divide, or the nothingness space. You can give it any name you want, I really don't care. If this realm contains a set of 17 infinite worlds, this would actually suggest that the ethereal divide is a higher dimensional space. What's even crazier is the fact that one of the worlds contained within the nothingness space and is part of the 16 universes is actually an extra dimensional space. You could argue that the realm of nothingness could be an even higher dimensional space if it contains this extra dimensional realm, and this extra dimensional realm actually some sort of ontologically transcendent higher dimension. However, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to appeal to lowballs and say that this cosmology is low complex multiversal or fifth dimensional. When it comes to standard dimensionality, this is kind of where the cosmology stops, but going further within the cosmology, we can now enter into more spiritual metaphysical concepts. Within the world of Ninjago, there is a fundamental principle within reality labeled as the balance. The balance is a multiversal concept that shapes and affects reality like the framework of reality itself. For more emphasis on what I mean the balance truly is, I'm just going to go deeper into it in what it truly represents. The elements of light and dark is what is known as the balance within the verse, as balance is created by the forces of light and darkness. These forces are the golden power and the darkness, and it is stated to affect and shape all of existence. If light or darkness is destroyed or changed, this will destroy balance and all of existence, including histories and anything related to the balance. The balance existed before reality and before space and time itself, and it created all of existence, and this supports the existence of balance, well, before existence. It is mentioned that if light is destroyed, this would cause the destruction of the multiverse, and the same thing with darkness. And if it happens, shifting the balance poses a threat to reality itself. Where everything is a mixture of light and dark, and this balance is responsible for all of existence, this would mean that everything depends on it, as the balance itself also interconnects all 16 realms. Now that we understand the fundamentals of the Ninjago cosmology, the Ninjago cosmology is also directly connected to the power system of Ninjago itself. The Ninjago power system directly ties into the world of elements. And as the name suggests, elements, they go into elemental manipulation. Kai can use fire, Jay can use electricity, I think you get the point. But the truth is that the power system of Ninjago is not limited to just elements, as not only can they manipulate elements physically, but they can also manipulate them on a conceptual level. According for Ninjago, the definition of elements are just the ability to control an aspect of nature or a fundamental force itself. This definition would appeal to both a physical and a conceptual context, and this is backed up for many reasons. The first reason is that Garmadon's elemental power is literally fueled by conflict. And if you have more than 0.5 zepto-watt brain cells, you should be able to deduce that conflict is not something that is physical in nature and has to do with the material mind. And as you know, simply having a disagreement or an argument does not have any ontology, and it's just a bunch of words. So yeah, this is just blatant proof elements are conceptual. The next thing that backs up that the elements are in fact conceptual ties into the very nature of the element of creation and the element of destruction. Considering that both of these elements are directly in opposition to each other and both represent the balance, they would scale the exact same under the same quality. And for the elements of both creation and destruction, it is stated that the destruction element has the ability to erase anything. And I think you know what that means for the creation element as well. It's also just blatantly stated that if there is no destruction, then that means there is no room for creation, and if there is no creation, then there is nothing to destroy. This would mean both the elements of creation and destruction are directly tied to the ontological reality of Ninjago itself, which would fall under type 1 conceptual manipulation. Since now we know that the definition of elements are tied to both physical and conceptual manipulation of these elements, this would mean that every single element at the bare minimum at their max potential is at the very least a conceptual form of manipulation. With all of that information aside, keep that very much in mind, because I will go back to that later for Lloyd's power scaling. To start off with Lloyd's power scaling, it's just going to be very simple, so much so in fact to the point where I barely have to explain it because of how verbatim it is, but Lloyd does actually scale to the base Ninjago cosmology. Actually, you know what? Why the fuck am I talking? Let me just show you. You see what I mean? You're welcome. It was that verbatim. Anyway, as a very, very, very easy standard, this would get Lloyd to the multiversal, low complex multiversal ranges of power. And Lloyd being able to stop the merge with his energy would also grant him immeasurable speed. And if you're more of a conventionalist that only appeals to like basic low ball feats for some reason, he should scale to J in speed, as J is also able to dodge like lightning. So yeah, very easy like hypersonic speed, but no one's gonna use this. And now that we finally addressed the baseline Lloyd scaling, let's now go to the true Lloyd scaling, the Golden Ninja. How strong is the Golden Ninja? Remember when I said that the elements embody subjects on a conceptual level that they manipulate? Well, this part is actually relevant to the video now, so let's go over on why this is actually crazy. Within the world of Ninjago, there exists the elements of time, speed, and physical form. If the elements within the Ninjago world are supposed to embody the concepts that they are labeled as, that would suggest that anything that is superior to these elements transcends the concepts of space and time, making something outerversal. And within the Ninjago guides, it is blatantly stated that the golden power is the strongest elemental power within the entire Ninjago world. This would make the golden power outerversal, and by proxy, Lloyd outerversal, as he inherits the golden power. This outerversal power is more consistent with feats, as it's blatantly stated that the first Spinjitzu master created all elements with a few exceptions. And obviously, if you're out here creating the concepts of time, physical form, and speed, that would suggest that the first Spinjitzu master existed logically prior to these concepts, making him unrestricted by their limitations. Now, for more further emphasis on why Ninjago scaling is outerversal, there exists beings called the Source Dragons, which are beings that the elements directly inherit their power from. And it is confirmed via author statements that the Source Dragons transcend the concepts of space and time, making them outerversal. So yeah, there is just a shitload of consistency about the forces of creation and destruction being true, metaphysical, outerversal levels of power. I'm not gonna lie, if you thought the big three of anime, Mario, Sonic, all these other iconic characters, if you thought they could even touch Ninjago, that is just blatantly false. And if you genuinely thought that Avatar could beat Ninjago, you are actually the most incorrect person on the entire planet, as no one in Avatar has performed anything that is beyond a planet. Now, before I end this video, I just want to clarify a few things before some random idiot wants to try to find a contradiction. No, this does not mean every single character in Ninjago is outer just because they have an element. Given the prior data that I already established in this video, in order to truly fit the standard of an outerversal character within Ninjago is if you can fully utilize the maximum potency of the Source Dragons. Either that, or you need to have a power that basically surpasses the elements of time, speed, and physical form, as all of those three elements deal with the very fundamentals of the concepts of time and space. Yeah, so anyways, in conclusion, Golden Lloyd solos most of anime, most of fiction. This is actually very, very bad. It's crazy how your character dies to a Lego. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. See ya.